Alright, stick a cup in your ear and f what you heard about other monitors, because today we're taking a look at one that's actually very good, and thank God is using a glossy OLED display. What am I talking about? The 13A1F. Now, this is a 1920 by 1080 60 Hz. Now, wait a minute before you leave. There's a lot to like about this panel, so definitely stick around. Even if you don't like the fact that it's not going to be like a 240 Hz gaming monitor, I think you're going to like this one. It's a 13.3-inch portable 16 by 9 OLED monitor. And yeah, I think this is really good for a lot of purposes, which we'll talk about near the end of the video. But in terms of a stand, it has one. It's actually very good for a portable monitor. And in terms of ports, it has 2 Type-C and 1 mini Hdmi. Now, it doesn't have base mounting in the traditional sense, but I'm sure you could rig something up. Now, in terms of the price, it's a shockingly good $161 roughly, which makes this a really good buy if it delivers the goods. And does it? Well, let's go ahead and talk about color. Honestly, I think this thing has a very good color in SDR. And HDR is a little bit wonky, but I think it does really pop off the screen thanks to that glossy finish and OLED's perfect per pixel local dimming, and I think it looks really good as a second monitor. Now, in terms of the actual accuracy, what you're going to see here is it's actually pretty good out of the box, but the RGB balance and EOTF curve is a little bit off. Now, thankfully, I was able to completely fix it, as you can see here, and I will have a link to all of my settings and ICC profile, not only for this monitor, but all the monitors that I review in my Patreon, linked in the description below. I highly suggest you take a look at that if you pick up this monitor. Now, taking a look at the HDR, unfortunately, it's an absolute mess, and there was nothing I could really do about it. So I honestly just would not use this for HDR, which is a shame. But in terms of the color volume, it's actually very good. BT709, we're talking 176% roughly, DCI-P3 around 118%, and then BT 2020 volume around 80%, so very good there. But what about the brightness? Because that's a huge issue for OLED displays, and here, wowie, it gets 392 nits in a 100% window, far outpacing a lot of OLED monitors on the market. So that's really good. But what about a 10% window? And here's where it falls behind. Just 398 nits. Whoa! That's actually not very good. And again, makes it not real great for HDR. In fact, I'm going to skip over games because clearly it has a hard cap at around 400 nits. So not going to be real exciting looking at any games. But what about the minimum brightness? And here it's OLED, so you're getting 0, which also means you get infinite contrast for the contrast ratio, which is really great to see. But what about the latency? Is this good for gaming? And unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no. Between the 60 Hz refresh rate and very long 49 milliseconds that you're going to have to wait between a click and something actually happening, yeah, not a great gaming monitor, and that's only more apparent when we take a look at the UFO test, where this monitor just looks kind of blurry in motion. Sure, it's OLED, so it's better than maybe an LCD would be, but at 60 Hz, really nothing's that good, and yeah, it really shows here. So for gaming, this is gonna probably be a no-go. But what about text clarity? I mean, this is going to lean into whether or not it's actually good for other purposes. And thankfully, I believe it's using a regular RGB layout, and it shows. It looks very good in terms of clarity, which is good to see if you're going to be using this as a second monitor. And of course, let's wrap this up by talking about the finish here. Yeah, it's a glossy finish, and it looks absolutely incredible. In fact, this is probably one of the best looking finishes that I've seen on a display, which leads to it being one of the better looking displays that you can buy as a secondary display. That's really impressive, and at the price point, it's really good. It also has pretty dang good viewing angles, not as good as, say, Quantum Dot OLED, as I believe this is based on AMOLED technology, which has a bit of weirdness at an angle, but it's still actually very good. And also with the uniformity, there's really not too much to complain about as well. Also, in my last review of one of their monitors, I did see some frame skipping, but this time around I didn't. But let's go ahead and wrap this up. Is this a good monitor to buy? And at $161, honestly, it's kind of a steal. There are other monitors out there that do other things better than this in terms of maybe latency or refresh rate or maybe even resolution, stuff like that. But in terms of the actual visual quality you get out of this display, it's absolutely superb for the price that it's coming in at, especially at that size. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up as long as the price stays around that roughly $150 to maybe $170 price range. yeah, it's actually a really great buy. Whether you're looking to connect a new console, gaming PC, or just need a fast and reliable HDMI cable to connect over long distances, Rupro has you covered with their certified 8K HDMI 2.1 fiber optic cable available in sizes of up to 50 feet and can deliver a perfect full 48 gigabits per second connection over distances other cables could only dream of reaching. And with 48 gigabits per second of bandwidth, it can easily drive 8K 60 FPS or 4K 144 FPS 10-bit HDR video through its ultra-thin, flexible, and durable housing, and it even supports ER. So if you're in the market for a cable that can drive a beautiful new TV or monitor, be sure to check out Rupro on Amazon today.